Thanks, Will, and welcome to you, Coralie. Thanks very much for joining us today. So, Will gave us a bit of an overview of UTMB, the organisation, and the kind of events that you organise and produce as well. Can you just give us a sense of UTMB's content operation and given the nature of the events, what the biggest challenges are as well?
Thanks, George. So we work on a wide range of content production all year long for UTMB, UTMB Mont Blanc, or Pinnacle events, but also all our events of the UTMB World Series portfolio. So we go from short content for social media like Instagram Reels, but we also produce some 24 minutes magazine for TV distribution. And on top of that, we also produce 7 live productions this year at different events, so including UTMB Mont Blanc, where we broadcast our events live in different languages, up to 6 different languages for Mont Blanc, broadcasted on our OTT platform, as well as we have some deals with international broadcasters like L'Équipe in France, TV13 in Spain, or Run Train in China.
So that live aspect that you're talking about as well, that must be, given where the events take place, in some really sort of quite extreme locations and, mountainous areas. What sort of challenges does that present to you in terms of kind of capturing that content and then, sending that back and getting that out and onto the OTT platform that you mentioned?
Yeah, so as you said, we face some different playgrounds and terrains. So, like for example, UTMB Mont Blanc, we're crossing 3 different countries as well around the Mont Blanc, so France, Italy, and Switzerland. So there is some part where we have no signal, and this is the most difficult part for us because if we don't have any signal, then any coverage, so we can't send images to our control room. So this is what we are doing some recce of all our events that we produce live to make sure we've got the right signal, the right coverage. And if we don't, then we adapt our shooting plan, making sure we can be live as long as we can. And also during the recce, what's important for us is because we follow runners on some challenging terrains, going uphill or downhill. So we need to make sure that we can follow them at the right pace. So it's either by runners who are following those runners or by mountain bikes as well, if it's less technical trails. And we also have drones on the field to capture the beauty of the landscapes and follow runners.
So I guess you've got fairly sort of controlled environment at the start and finish of each race. So I suppose that's comparatively feels a little bit more straightforward in terms of capturing the start of a race and the end of a race and the sort of crowd shots and all of that. But as you mentioned, so for those races where you've got competitors and you've got runners out on trails, so you will have people on foot sort of chasing the kind of leading pack, I guess. Do you just focus on the front runners, on the kind of top 10, 20 or so of the racers?
Yes, so on the course we focus on the top runners, normally top 3, men and women, to follow them. And as you said, we have to follow their pace. So this is why we've got very good runners or mountain bikers in our team to follow them, to be able to follow them at the same pace. Which is another challenge as well, because you're not on a motorbike following them on the road, on paved roads. You have to follow them on technical ascent or descents. And as you said, on the start and finish, it's we've got different setup and different materials because it's way easier. We've got electricity, we've got internet fiber at some point, not everywhere in the middle of the small town in the mountain. So so we've got different setup for start, finish, and on the course coverage.
And so, what would one of those crews look like then? That's out on the course and trying to keep up with the front runners. What can you give us a sense of sort of how many people might be in that crew and what kind of kit they might have as well?
Yeah, sure. So we work with a company, a French-based company called Outdoor Sport Life, and they are specialized in following trail running and broadcasting trail running races. So they developed specificity to follow trail runners. So we work with, normally we've got a team of about 4 runners on the ground following other runners. So some of them, like Sébastien Chéniaud, he's done several podiums at UTMB. So he used to be a proof of elite runners on his own. We've got also Devan in the terrain 2 to 4 mountain bikes. As well, we work in the team. There's Miguel Hernandez with former Olympian champions in mountain bikes, and we've got also some drones. So three drone operators who are going in the mountain, who hike for sometimes 2-4 hours to go to the right spot and capture the beauty of the landscape and follow runners where we want them to follow them.
And so how are you getting those signals back if you're on the side of a mountain, for example? How are you managing to get that coverage back off the side of the mountain?
So we work with the Teradek signal. So all our runners on mountain bikes are filming with some GoPro. They're now filming with GoPro 10, and they've got the backpack that is developed by the company, so the Outdoor Sport Life company, with a Teradek signal, and they send it to our main control room, which is either in Chamonix for UTMB Mont Blanc, or which is remote when we work with events across the world.
Okay, so when you're on one of the kind of series events that you have, that will all still be coming back to Chamonix.
Yeah. So we've got for UTMB Mont Blanc, all our teams, so start, finish, on the course, and control room is based in Chamonix. For other events, we stay where our partner company has their office. So it's easier, to not move all the control room with the specificity of internet, electricity that you don't know how it's reliable in some, mountain locations. So this is why we prefer to stay at the office where we can rely on good internet, good electricity, and all the setup we need to work with.
And so from a viewer's perspective, what will they be able to see if they're tuning in at the start of a race, for example? Is the idea with the coverage to make sure that there is live coverage which takes the viewer all the way through the race from the kind of leader's perspective in the men's and women's fields? How do you kind of approach it from an editorial perspective?
So that's our main was to enable viewers to watch live the top elite boss men and female runners. It can be quite challenging at some point because sometimes, as I said, we don't have any signal, any coverage. So this is why we go from the men to the women depending on the timings. And then our goal is to see, highlight the great destination we have on the course, being in the Swiss Alps or in the French Riviera, or we go to Thailand as well at the end of the the Canaries. It's a great destination, and we've got the support of the public authorities. So we want to highlight the territories and make people want to go there and run as well for the next edition. So. And then in terms of storytelling, it's mainly we try to highlight the battle at the front pack. There is some battle. Sometimes runners are far away, so we try to go back and see what's happening with the second, third, or maybe fourth and fifth, depending on what's going on. So this is why we need to adapt to the sport, to what's going on the course, and make sure we've got the right people at the right place to capture this moment. So we have got this coverage on the course. What's interesting as well is we have for long distance, like the 100 miles or 100K, we've got the aid station and some base camp. So where runners spend sometimes, to feed themselves, they've got the assistance of friends and family. And sometimes, their runners will arrive at the same times or leave earlier. This is where we want to storytell a bit what's happening, or they don't have also the same way of feed themselves, so which is key for trail running. So we want to highlight the differences, and that's also the role of our guest speakers. To comment through the whole duration and give our viewers some technical information about nutrition, course aspects, the key landmarks on the course, because most of our hosts or speakers are either professional speakers or also elite runners. So they know the course, they know what running 100 miles means. So they are the most the best person to talk about that and the effort done by the runners on the course.
And I guess data is going to be a really important aspect of what you're able to provide to viewers as well. So data about the terrain of the course that you mentioned, and I suppose not just for those front runners as well, but for the entire field that's taking part. Because I suppose one of the beauties of the races is that people can enter and they can take part alongside those international athletes and the people who are going to be challenging for a podium. So how do you sort of handle that data and present that data, not just for the front runners, but also for everyone who's taking part, so that people can, I guess, kind of check on the site, log in, keep up to date with someone that they know that might be taking part in one of the races?
Yeah, sure. So one of the property of UTMB Group is a live trail brand. So it's a timing and live tracking company. So thanks to that, this is how we time all our runners in most of our races, and we've got a lot of data coming from live trail that we insert in our live broadcast. So we produce around over 200 graphics for a race to give the position of the top runners, as you said, but also where the middle pack, where the front and the last runners, and it moves on the profile of the race. We've got some 3D animated course. We've got all the different type of information about the speed, about the difference between the first and second runners in terms of kilometers, distance, time between the two of them. We've got a lot of animated graphic about location on the map, on profiles. And then every aspect that you can imagine with a race, timing wise.
And are you able to get much in the way of data from the athletes as well? I don't know if that's anything that that you're able to do at the moment, or something that you might be looking into, if you're talking about heart rate and other kind of indicators about how some of those athletes are getting on.
Heart rate, no, because we don't have the info from these runners. But speed, their when they will check at the next, aid station, sorry, or timing point, their estimated, arrival time, their distance they have to still to run. So by the way, we develop our own platform, so an in-house platform called live.utmb.world, where you can watch our live broadcasts, but also you've got all the data for all the runners. So you can see a lot of statistics in terms of speed, if they have increased or decreased their speed, if there are how many runners they passed since the last timing point, how long they stay at a feed station. A lot of advanced stats, and this is true for the top runners, but also the middle pack and the back of the field. So people, viewers, but also family, friends can follow runners. They can have check where they are on the course and get some information about them, how they perform, and where also they can expect them on the course if they want to follow them on the course.
And you've got a lot of very interesting characters that take part, and so interesting personalities. Certainly, challenging at the front of the pack over the years. History developing between winners and people challenging to take that top spot as well. So I just wondered if you can tell us how you go about some of that, sort of helping to build those narratives and provide viewers with a little bit around the personality of those runners. And I'm thinking, you know, away from the live content and more to do with some of the perhaps short form content that you share over social media and any longer form content as well.
Yeah, you know, the what we call the human stories, what's more interesting for us. Obviously, the top runners have a good story to tell and they are well known, but you know, in the middle of the field or at the back, we've got some incredible stories that we want to tell. You know, we got yeah, we tend to follow some runners. We've got some normal story, but we tend to say that they become, you know, extraordinary heroes. So yeah, we follow them. We do some short format, like 2 minute to 5 minute long. For some of the format, we work with some partners, so like Oka or Dacia. This year, we produce some content with them, and like the Human of Soka, we go and follow the some athletes who've got interesting stories. You know, like. For example, we follow Morgan, you know, with um, Black American athletes. We used to do Ironman, and he's now wanted to challenge himself and do a 50K race. And so we follow them, and he's completely new to new to the sport. And whether I achieve it or not, I won't tell you the end because we haven't published it this episode. But you know, this is a story we want to tell. Ordinary people who achieve extraordinary things on our social media channel, and the same with. Like with Dacia, we followed a couple of runners at different events and want to tell their story, why they started to do trail running, but also what they do in their normal life, how they can balance their professional life, family life, and their training life. Because you know, when you go and run 100 miles, you've got to spend some time during the year away from friends and family to train. So this is what we want to show, that if you're committed to it, then you can achieve it, and that's something that makes you not a different person, but kind of. If you say, okay, I've done 100 miles, then in your life you can say, okay, you can think back to that and say, okay, I've done these things, or I can do anything else.
Well, listen, I'll be keeping an eye on that. I'm not sure I can 100% commit to making that same journey myself. But listen, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for, Coralie. So thank you so much for making the time to speak with us and for sharing that insight into UTMB and how you guys go about producing content. Thanks very much, Coralie.